So earlier this month, OpenAI released the GPT 3.5 Turbo API for developers to create their own exciting web applications using the same technology as used by ChatGPT. And I've been very interested to learn everything that I can about this in order to discover what is possible using this latest technology in the e-learning development process. I have one idea that I've created in Articulate Storyline, which I'd like to show you now. So let's take a look at this. So what I've got here is an example of an essay-style question activity, and you might have seen or created something similar to this before, and I'll admit, for better or worse, that I've also created interactions like this in the past, where we ask our audience to write their answer to a question. They then click a button. Our astronaut character has to fly away here in order to make some space, and then the model answer appears on screen next to what was written. What we are doing here is effectively getting the learner to mark their own work, but the problem with this is that the submission and feedback process is not conducive to an effective online learning experience because we are not able to provide direct feedback to this specific user based on the answer which they have given. So if they perhaps haven't seen or understood why a specific element of their submission was not reaching the expected standard, then ultimately they could go away having completed this activity without properly understanding what is expected of them going forward. To provide that level of beneficial and bespoke feedback up to this point would have required human intervention to both read and respond to every user individually, which for an L&D facilitator in a huge organisation could take a very long time. So I'm wondering whether we can bring AI in at this point in order to do that analysis work for us, as well as providing a useful and supportive feedback response directly to the user in the same activity. Here's my idea for the prompt, which I'm going to send to the GPT API in order to make this work. First, I'll feed the text entry submission by the user straight into the API, along with a direct instruction to analyze the survey response by our staff member, followed by the text entry variable, which we'll pull from Articulate Storyline. Next, I will feed in the actual Discover eLearning culture statement values to let the API know what it needs to compare the answer against. Now I'm going to provide the instruction for exactly what I want the API to provide as a response once it has finished analysing the user submission. I'm going to start by saying with their submission, if the user has closely matched at least 2 of our culture statement values, then respond with the word rocket, all in caps. And if that isn't the case, then instead respond with the word comets. The reason that we're doing this is so that using a JavaScript statement in Storyline, we can trigger, once the GPT response variable changes, that if the response contains the word rocket, then we will load the good answer layer, and if it contains the word comets, then we'll load the needs improvement answer layer. And I'm going to create a different animation on the slide for each outcome. Straight after the keyword, I want the GPT engine to write its feedback to the user, and I'm going to instruct it to do the following. If it was a good answer, follow the keyword with an Uppbeat response written to the member of staff in second person on what they wrote about that matched most closely to our company's culture. On the other hand, if the response needs improvement, follow the keyword with a non-critical or judgmental response written to the member of staff on why their response wasn't in line with our company's culture values. In the end, we're not wanting the response to come across like the staff member has done something wrong, but to instead encourage them to explore ways that they can better align their behaviour to the culture of our company, and to perhaps talk the whole thing through with their manager. I'm also going to ask the GPT engine to provide its response as one complete paragraph without any line spacing or breaks. This will make it easier to parse as a string variable within our Storyline application. And that it should not contain any formalities before or after the response. And it shouldn't provide multiple responses or variations of the same response. Lastly, I'd prefer that the response be brief, so I'll ask for an output to be no longer than 100 words. Let's take a look now at the difference implementing the ChatGPT API has made to our activity. So this time I'll start by inputting my answer and try to get as close to the free culture statement values as I can, but in my own words in order to give the API something to work with. And now, instead of just seeing a model answer, almost instantly I've been brought to a new screen where the astronaut character is giving me a gold star and is providing me with feedback on my answer based on exactly what I wrote. Let's see what it says. You hit the nail on the head with your response. At Discover eLearning, we strive to adopt an inquiring and creative mindset, and your mention of creativity aligns perfectly with that goal. Additionally, promoting excellence is a key part of our culture statement, and your mention of being the best at what we do shows that you embody this value. Keep up the great work. If I was writing this myself, I don't think I would have said it any better. Let's rerun the activity now, and this time I'm going to on purpose write something which if I saw a member of my staff saying, I wouldn't be too happy about. But let's see what ChatGPT has to say. And it looks like it has correctly identified that this submission is not to the standard that we would expect from any member of the Discover eLearning team. Let's see exactly what ChatGPT has to say to this staff member. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on our company culture. However, it seems that your perception does not align with our official culture statement goals. At Discover eLearning, we strive to adopt an inquiring and creative mindset, communicate effectively, and promote integrity and trust amongst team members, as well as empower our people to perform to the best of their ability. We encourage collaboration and teamwork while valuing quality design work that enhances the learning experience for our clients. Let's work together to ensure we are all aligned with these goals and continue to grow as a team. I really like this because ChatGPT has listened to our instruction to not be overly critical or judgmental to the person, and we are instead providing that encouragement in order for us to together work on any issues that may need addressing. So let me know what you think about this. Do you think that my prompt to the ChatGPT API could be improved in some way? And in what other ways do you think this latest technology can be utilised in the e-learning development process? I'm going to be sharing a lot more of my findings and tutorials over on the Discover eLearning website and also to our YouTube channel in the coming weeks. So stay tuned as we continue this journey together.